Everybody, Sam from Road Trail Run here in Sunny Park City, or was in Sunny Park City. We're going back to New Hampshire for the rest of the review, but we're going to take a look at the GEL-Cumulus 24 from ASICS. It gets a full Flytefoam Blast midsole. It loses quite a bit of weight and also moves from a 10 millimeter to an 8 millimeter drop and has a jacquard mesh upper. You can think of it as the lighter sibling to the Nimbus 24, a shoe I really enjoyed, and which we're going to compare to a little bit later. The women's Cumulus 24 differs in having 1 millimeter less stack height front and back and having a 3D space construction that's gender specific below the sock liner. So I've tested them indoors and outdoors, and we certainly have a flexible daily trainer here. In really exciting news, and also what we saw in the Nimbus, is we have ASICS really energetic Flytefoam Blast now as the entire midsole here, which is a really neat development. You can see this is a soft, bouncy midsole, first seen in the Novablast, so that's really exciting. We also go to an 8 millimeter drop with more forefoot cushioning in that equation. The upper is now a jacquard mesh. It is super soft. I'm going to take them out, give you my fit impressions and run impressions, but it's super soft. The logos are more than adequate to support it, and it'll be hard to see, but it also has a gusset tongue, which I find in these jacquard mesh soft uppers are really essential. You can see it has sort of a low, very well padded heel counter. The Cumulus has always been a super comfortable shoe to run, and one of my favorites in the ASICS line. Plenty of rubber here, well segmented. You saw that flex. There should be plenty of durability. How does it do in terms of weight? Well, this pair of 8.5, US 8.5, comes in at 9.37 ounces or 265.5 grams. So translated up to a US 9, that'd be 9.62 or 273 grams. And what's really cool is we have a weight drop as a result of 0.6 ounces or 17 grams over the predecessor, which is always really good news. And I really like daily trainers that are under 10 ounces, and here we clearly are. So I'm going to take them out for a run, tell you how they fit and how they ride. So I started the review in snowy Utah. Now we're in rainy New Hampshire on the Atlantic coast, away from the mountains. So let's, but I'm going to take them out now for an A-B run with the Cumulus 23 right here. So let's talk just quickly about the differences between the two. So the 23 has a 23-13 midsole stack, about 34-24 full stack height of Flytefoam, just regular Flytefoam. We still have the gel units in both, whereas over here our number 24 has a 24-16 for the men's, a 35-27. So what happens is we gain 3 millimeters more of that softer Flytefoam Blast at the forefoot and 1 millimeter more at the heel. So we're a little bit higher stacked here in the 24 compared to the 23. However, because we have a full Flytefoam Blast midsole, yes, we still have the gel. What happens is we lose quite a bit of weight, whereas our 23 was 9.93 ounces, 281 grams in my US 8.5 sample that ASICS provided. Over here in the 24, we come down to 9.37 ounces, 266 grams, again, US 8.5. So the uppers, here we had an engineered mesh, thinner, a little kind of denser, fuller feel, whereas over here we have this soft jacquard mesh that's a little bit thicker, as you can see. We also get a gusset tongue. Won't be able to see it in the 24, and we did not have one in the 23. There are some differences in the heel construction as well. The heel counters, you can see. We also have some changes in the outsole design. Not major, but fairly significant. As you can see, our cavity in the rear on our 24 at the bottom here is wider and not quite as deep as the 23s. And then up front, we have full bars connected through here, whereas here we have the decoupling line with open, kind of an open profile. However, the midsole groove that kind of slopes in there is definitely deeper in the 24 than the 23. And I think what that does here with the complete bars versus partial is it provides a bit more stability to this softer Flytefoam Blast in the front. So we'll see how that exactly feels side by side, but I think those bars are kind of important. Of course, it's ASICS rubber, so it should prove plenty durable. I don't see any real differences that will occur in terms of the overall durability of the shoe. I'm going to take them out now for an A/B run, but before I do, let's also talk about the bigger sibling, the Nimbus 24 right here. Maybe it'll bounce. It too has a Flytefoam Blast midsole, dual density. The teal here is a little firmer, denser than the white. It has a bigger gel unit. It has a similar kind of jacquard mesh upper. It has a thinner tongue than the other two with a gusset. And we can't forget, it still has a trustic plate and more of the denser Flytefoam Blast on the medial side. So this is a more kind of supportive, a little bit more stable version, and it has a bit more stack height as well, with 26/16 midsole stack height versus 24/16 over here. So with those numbers, it's a 10 millimeter drop versus an 8 for the 24, and we were at 10 for the 23. So more shoe, about the same forefoot stack, but more kind of heel lift and more ramp. So kind of a more stable version. In terms of weight, it is a bit heavier. It's weighing 10.1 ounces, 286 grams in my US 8.5. So lighter than it's been, and not too far off in weight from the 23, but heavier by, let's see, about 0.6 of an ounce over the 24. So now I'm going to take 23 and 24 out for an A/B test and tell you how they run. I can already say that the 23, because of the denser Flytefoam, is stiffer than our 24, and I felt that on the run as well. So away we go, and I'll tell you how it goes from the run. The seagulls aren't going anywhere, and I'm trying. It's pretty cold today out here for this test. Keep going, because I like to do my reviews outside on the run. Pardon a bit of wind noise. The 23 on the right toe box is definitely a little lower, right up at the front, or maybe there's more give in our jacquard mesh, the 24, compared to this denser but thinner engineered mesh on the 23. Heel hole a bit more comfortable actually in the 24, a little more relaxed. Midfoot, more support, I think, coming from the 23. For me, particularly right in the arch area, even though there isn't a gusset tongue. Whereas again here, a bit more of a kind of relaxed comfort fit. They're available in wide, so if you have a moderately wide foot, you'll probably be, or medium to wide, you'll probably be okay in the regular here in the 24. And maybe if you went to wide in the 23, you'll be able to get by with less, with a regular one here, but you'll probably have to try. Overall, more comfort kind of oriented upper for the 24, softer feel, a bit more performance oriented, maybe a bit rougher feeling for the 23, as we've seen in all 20, 21, 22 ASICS. They've gone to kind of a softer, more relaxed kind of upper materials than they did in the series before, which all had this kind of denser engineered mesh. Before I get too cold, I'm going to keep going. Back from the run, we're going to compare very closely here to the 23, but let's just say a little bit more just about the 24, where it sits. So definitely a daily trainer. There's plenty of cushioning here. It is a softer cushion with quite a bit of bounce from the Flytefoam Blast. It's not sort of the higher stack, about the same weight Novablast, which is kind of arrow shaped, a bit narrower platform, a bit more kind of rocker oriented. This is a flexible shoe. Show you that one more time. So 8mm drop. So kind of a almost traditional, but with the flex of the traditional trainer. So you can do all your running in this daily miles, unless I think you really need a lot more stability. At the end here, you'll see I have a three-way comparison to the Puma Velocity Nitro 2, our Cumulus 24, and the New Balance 880 V12. So they're all sort of in the same class of daily trainer. This one is a bit more relaxed in feel, a bit more cushioned, especially at the forefoot, than the 23, because we got 3 more millimeters of the softer Flytefoam Blast up front than in the 23. At the heels, we have 1mm more of the softer Flytefoam Blast than regular Flytefoam. Pretty close, definitely a touch softer, but not as much as noticed as the extra cushioning in the forefoot. What does this translate to? Well, we've got a bouncier kind of ride here, but not quite as responsive and snappy as the 23, especially when we also look at the difference now in the upper, more relaxed, a little bit less precision oriented. So a bit more comfort oriented overall. Fun to run shoe, no question. Decent amount of cushion. There's no question about that. So you can definitely daily train in it. It's kind of an enjoyable shoe, maybe not quite as performance oriented as the 23, which also is quite soft, but this is definitely softer and bouncier with the Flytefoam. So you'll see right here soon the link to the, or if not already, to the three-way comparison. But just to sum it up here, what do we have? We got a May releasing Cumulus 24, $130 in terms of weight, 9.37 ounces, 265 grams. In terms of full stack height, and midsole, outsole, sock liner, etc., 35.27. So 3 more millimeters than before up front, and 1 more at the heel. So more shoe for less weight. It's a solid performer from ASICS. Great upper, this jacquard mesh. I'm glad they added the booty or the gusset tongue to hold things together. Comfort, very comfortable. A little broader or maybe stretchier than the 23 right at the toe box area here. I definitely noticed a bit more room. It's also available in wide. We're going to have our full multi-tester review real soon at RoadTrailRun.com. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great run in any kind of weather.